Hello and welcome to the Student Art Podcast. I'm your host Ross Baxter, and today is episode 120 of this series. If you want to learn what it takes to make it as a career, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about 10 life lessons that have launched my career in the creative industries. The first one is make money your friend, not your enemy. In life, we all have our different relationships with money, and when I first started out as a creative, I knew nothing about money. And it took me a long time to no longer be afraid of money and start focusing on improving my relationship with money. And I think it's important as artists to understand that money is an important factor to grow in your career, not just in terms of the salary that you're getting or the price that you're charging for a client, but most importantly, how to actually use money to your advantage so that that your relationship with money is actually a good thing, a good, healthy relationship, so that you can focus on executing the fundamentals, such as your pension, having savings, being able to invest for the future, possibly having a house deposit. Maybe you want to buy a car. Possibly you're going down the route on trying to get to that next stage in your career, and also the unexpected events as well. So improving your relationship with money is such a powerful move because it helps you gain back control of your time, and most importantly, it gives you the power of choice. And choice is such an important thing to have. At the end of the day, we always have a choice, and that's why I think it's always important to accept the responsibility to start looking into financial literacy. Now, don't be intimidated by that word. For years I was, and it's not as scary as it may seem. I know when you're first starting out, it can be very daunting, and but it's okay to not know. I didn't know for many years what I was talking about. I didn't understand it, but the more I started reading books, looking into it, having healthy discussions with friends, and then starting reaching out to experts about money and how I could use it to best project my career in the right direction, I was able to have more peace of mind and progress as a creative. So number 2 is the status game. So a lot of us, and early on in my career, I was playing the status game. I was following the numbers and chasing everything else that everybody else wanted. And I realized that at the end of the day, these are maybe just possessions. These are things that I don't necessarily need. So learning to take a step back and following your own path is all that matters. So the hardest thing is to kind of stop doing every once in a while is to stop comparing yourself to others. So if other people's relationships positioning is a lot further than yours, that's okay. If they've got a bigger house than you, that's okay. If they've got more money, they've got their family, whatever it is, that's okay. Because you have to remember, it's easy for us all to paint a perfect picture of our lives and post it online, but the reality is always different. We all have our problems, we all face different challenges, and that's what makes life worth having, is that life is meant to be a journey, not the destination. So appreciate the journey and trust the process. So don't follow the rat race. And one of the important lessons is delaying gratification. You don't need to have all these things straight away. And life is actually very long. A lot of people say that life flies by, which sometimes I see where they're coming from, but you've got so much time on your hands, and appreciate time. Time is your friend. Time is not your enemy. And that took a lot of years of reflection and trying to understand time for me to appreciate it a lot more. And like I said, don't follow the status game. There's a lot of things like status, like your possessions, it does not define you. It's your personality that matters most, who you are as a person, your values, etc. That's the thing that you should be prioritizing the most. So stop chasing the status game. Okay, so continuing this conversation, the third point, which is something that I learned through interviews and most importantly, building healthy relationships, networking with people along the way. and that is everything at the end of the day is based off communication and information. Every discussion you have, you want to be open, honest, and direct. Now, some people would say you don't want to give away too much information, and you don't want to give control to the other person in the discussion. But at the end of the day, there's no control to be had or lost, because at the end of the day, you have the choice at the end of the day. Do you agree to it or do you not? Do you decide to work for a company or do you not? Maybe you want to go down the self-employed route. Maybe you start your own limited company. And at the end of the day, that is down to your choice. So I think it's important to be open and honest about exactly what you want to achieve from a business. So maybe you're going to an interview and you have lots of questions. That's a great position to be in. You should be doing your best to make sure that you got all your concerns out of the way, and also flip it around and try and make sure that you've got all your employer or potential employers' concerns out the way. Like, one of the powerful questions that you could ask the person that you're that's interviewing you is, what is their biggest concern regarding the position? Because at the end of the day, they're wanting to invest in you for their long term, potentially, and also that, most importantly, that helps with the biggest bottleneck in the room, which at the end of the day is money. Whether we want to accept or not, it's a transaction, it's a business decision, and they're wanting to put their to make the right decision for their business so they can grow. So, and it's all based off of having healthy relationships, and healthy relationships are formed based off communication and information. So we want to be clear communicators and learn to get out of our comfort zone. For years, I used to really struggle with, I used to shake a lot when I got nervous. I really struggled in my early days, particularly in secondary school, with presentations. I was so nervous, it was unbelievable. But the more I did it and faced my fears, it became something that I really enjoyed. And most importantly, it allowed me the opportunity to help people, which was always my focus. So communication, information, get as much information as you possibly can. Never be afraid to ask questions. It's always been a motto throughout the podcast over the years. I can't count how many times I've said it to people, because that information is going to impact the decision going forward. But also, when you take a step back and realize it's okay to make mistakes, because the more mistakes you make, the better you become. So don't be afraid of failure. So communication, information, so important, not just in interviews, but in any form of networking, any form of relationships, and just life as a whole. Disagreements only occur because something has not been said. There's some sort of disagreement along the way, and it's all based around the information side of things. So far, like I said, we've talked about financial literacy, not playing the status game, the importance of communication and information. Now, the next one is the power of saying no. You always have a choice. In life, I've always based my philosophy around patience, responsibility, and choice. You always have a choice, and those choices are your responsibility. I used to hide away from those fears for quite a while. I used to be like, no, I'd be blaming people for this and that. And then I realized, no, in order for me to be happy, taking ownership, and extreme ownership, has given me so much peace of mind, and that's important. And that is also a main theme of today's episode, is you want to be able to think clearly and see yourself progressing in the right direction. So it's saying no is an important skill set to learn. You don't always have to say yes. And when you're also in an interview, or maybe you're starting your own business and people are giving you suggestions, maybe people are asking if you want to be a member of their team. If they're not the right fit, saying no is the most respectful thing you can say, because you are saving them time and money, which at the end of the day is what business is all based around of. It's the fuel that keeps things progressing. So by saying no is not only going to help them, but most importantly, it's going to help yourself. For many years, I used to say yes to so many things, and it resulted in things not moving in the right direction. And the reason why I didn't say no was because I was afraid to say no. And I've now learned that just being direct and clear of my intentions has made things so much easier and allowed me to sleep a lot better at night, put it that way, which is a great position to be. Don't get me wrong, there's still many times when I'm put on the spot and I'm trying to take a step back from the situation, so I'm not being impulsive, and being impulsive sometimes is a difficult place where I see myself being in, so I have to slow things down and realize, Ross, you got this, I believe in you, and I just take my step back, and then I think clearly, and then I move forward. So the power of saying no, incredible skill set to have, and something that really made a difference with me mentally over the years, and has improved my relationships with friends and clients, and I'm so grateful that I've learned that lesson. Now, with saying no, this leads on to our next point, which is also incredibly important, which took a lot of years for me to appreciate, and I think the reason why I developed this was because of my relationship with reading, and that is the importance of empathy, learning to understand why people think the way they do, whether it's relationships, family, colleagues to clients. Try not to jump to assumptions. It's easy to let our assumptions get the better of us at times, and I think it's very important to be empathetic. Of course, you don't want to be taken advantage of, but by having empathy, you begin to develop an understanding. Okay, why does this person think the way they do? What's their current circumstances? Try and break down a list of, okay, what's their upbringing? Who are the people they're surrounding themselves by? And over time, you begin to develop an understanding of how they've become the person they are. And the reason why this is important is it helps you not be impulsive, but also make better decisions going forward. Who to work with, who not to work with, who to trust, who not to trust. And this is a vital skill set. And this is why I think psychology books has been such an impactful asset in my career, alongside financial literacy. And it's allowed me to progress more on the personal side of things in my life, rather than letting things get to me. So I think empathy is such a powerful tool that everyone can use in their arsenal, which will also that's all I want to say on empathy, because I think it's such a crucial thing to learn and appreciate a lot more. Now, the next lesson is something that I kind of only learned recently to appreciate, and that is routine is great, however, a flexible routine is better. As we get used to maybe a schedule, following a calendar, it's easy to become very habitual. We are creatures of habit at the end of the day. However, the more you become habitual, now I think habits are great. It's healthy. It gives you structure, but an even better system to follow is a flexible structure, because it means that if something doesn't go exactly to plan, you're going to be more at peace with it, because you've planned that extra wee bit of space or wee bit of time. Maybe it's 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of leeway to solve the problem or to make progress. And things are not so strict. When you get so strict and so set in your ways, it's hard to not react emotionally. Especially maybe you've got a deadline and you're like, oh, it needs to be dead on by 8 o'clock. Well, it's okay to be finished by 10 past 8. Like, you don't have to be so strict with everything. Now, I know that is hard sometimes when everyone's life is different. We have different responsibilities, and sometimes being very regimented has helped you deal with that stress. But it can also be a result of that stress, because you're being so precise and almost to a state of micromanaging everything. Because and when it doesn't go your way, it can be very difficult to not let anger get to the better of you. So I do think having a flexible routine is a far more healthier approach to getting your work done, I'm very curious of what you guys think, so feel free to comment in the description below. It really does help the channel grow. Now, the next one is something I've always believed in, and it's something that I've basically done my entire life. It's never been something that, this was one thing that I just knew at an early age, and that was choose your environment wisely and the people you surround yourself with, because it has such an impact on your career, and you want to be surrounding yourself by the right people and also the right environment. A very interesting lesson I learned during my education days was, because of studying in student halls, I had my office and my bedroom were both the same place. So my environment, I was working and sleeping in the same place. Therefore, my bedroom became an area of stress because I associated with work and sleep. And for many years, I was trying to understand, why was I struggling so hard back then to get to sleep and improve my relationship with balance. And that was because I didn't have the right environment. I needed to learn to take a step back, and when I got my own place, appreciated that there's the area to go to work, and then there's my area for rest and me time. And I think that's a very important lesson to learn. And your environment doesn't just relate to the career side of things. It relates to everything as a whole. To by being surrounded by nature, by going outside, by being around the right type of environment that you want to live. There's so many variables involved when it comes to choosing your environment wisely, and that's why it leads so importantly to surround yourself by the right people. I firmly believe in the phrase that you are almost a collection of the 5 people that you surround yourself by. And if you maybe take a pause and kind of think just for a minute, who do you surround yourself by the most? And do you see yourself generating habits from that type of person's interests? Have you do you guys relate in many ways? And is the person that you are surrounding yourself, are those people that you want to be? Are they good people that you want to surround yourself by? Has your relationship and bond grown as together? Do you help one another? Do you have strong relationships? Is it healthy relationships? This is why choosing the people you surround yourself is so important. Surround yourself by people who want the best for you, and you want the best for them. And that is such a crucial lesson. And fortunately, growing up, that was something that I always prioritized. Surround yourself by people who want the best for you, and most importantly, you want the best for them. Now, the next one was something that was so strange that I don't know why I overthought it for so many years, and that was the power of doing nothing. Set time aside to just think. Go for a wander, go for a walk, and take time away from the desk. Sometimes even it's just for a few hours, sometimes a week. Maybe you might be shocked about what I'm going to say here. Maybe take a month away from work if you have that luxury, and set me time, and it will allow you to make better decisions. Because like I said, a main theme today is not being impulsive, not letting our emotions get to the best of us, and it plays and this balance is so important. So I think that sometimes you've got to put yourself in positions that cause you to be bored. Like, boredom can be very powerful. I've always heard in podcasts of people talking about how sometimes like the best ideas come in the most random of moments, when it's not actually them during time of work. It's sometimes they're in the shower, maybe they're singing a song, and out of nowhere a random thought just comes to their mind that has suddenly been impactful in their lives. And the only reason that's occurred is because they've allowed their brain to rest and to think things a wee bit more clearly. And if you're going through a stage right now that you're trying to figure out, I'm not quite sure what I want to do, and maybe you've been journaling, or you've been trying to figure things out, maybe you've been questioning things more than you usually do, well, maybe if you take time aside and do nothing and don't actually think about it at all. Yes, I understand it's very circumstance based, but by doing so, you're giving your brain time to rest, and once you get that rest back, you'll be able to make a better decision. You won't be as reactive, and you'll be more proactive, which is what we're trying to achieve. So like I said, routine is great, flexible routine is better. Choose your environment wisely and the people that you surround yourself with, and also sometimes the power of doing nothing is more important. Now, I've got two more points that I want to talk about, and these 2 points were 2 points that caught me off guard. Now, a few years ago, I was watching a very awesome content creator that I've been following for many years called Ali Abdaal, and he introduced me to the book called The Unfair Advantage. Now, all of us in some shape or form have one unfair advantage. Some of us have massive families, some of us have small families, some of us have the right location, some of us have massive cities, we're in massive cities, some people live in small places. Now, all of these places and all of these differences have an advantage in some shape or form. The reason why I was able to start my business was because my location was an advantage. Now, naturally, you'd assume because of my location, you might think that city might be very far behind the times, and I don't see how there could be a potential business for the type of service that I provide. But that was then my unfair advantage, was because it provided me with access to have kind of almost law of the category, so being first to the market within my city. And that was the advantage that I was able to utilize. So we all have an unfair advantage in some shape or form. Maybe you have multiple siblings. Well, that's multiple different perspectives that you're able to gather information from. Maybe you live in a massive city. Well, if you live in a massive city, there's an opportunity to reach out to more like-minded people like yourself. So maybe you have a passion for concept art and you're wanting to start a podcast. Well, you've got more pool of people to reach out to maybe try to figure out, well, how could I build something with other people? It's better to build something with other people rather than just focusing on just yourself, because things are going to have more assets. There's going to be more time to be able to make this engine start moving and build real life momentum. So try to figure out, what is your unfair advantage? Do you have a family member that can help you with something? Is your environment your advantage? Maybe you speak multiple languages. What is it? There's something that you could think that's maybe a wee bit out there, a wee bit different, that you could turn into your favor and do something different and build yourself as an individual. So like I said, tune into the book, The Unfair Advantage. I highly recommend it. Now, the last point today was something that I did not expect. So growing up, my dad always said, Ross, I want you to dress well. I want you to look after yourself, be presentable, put your best foot forward. And I never forgot that. My dad always made it clear, Ross, it's important that you dress well. And to be honest with you, it was only in the last few years that I really started focusing on dressing the way that I wanted, but also being presentable and saying, you know what, I feel good, I look good, I'm happy with myself, with how I dress. And by dressing well gave me so much more confidence in life. And it was to me, it came across more of a small shift, but it actually became a massive shift in my life with my confidence. And I think if you want to increase your confidence, embrace clothes, enjoy dressing well, and have fun with it. Explore how you want to, how to look, etc. I'm no expert in clothes, but I've got a lot more comfortable with how I look, and it's made me feel a lot more better in my life. And it was one thing that I want to include in today's episode. That was a bit of something that would kind of be a bit more of a surprise, something different, not as cliche as so many topics. So dress well is such a powerful thing. I highly recommend to start looking into. Life is a journey, not the destination. Trust the process. And I'm so grateful for everyone tuning in today's episode. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And as always, folks, we will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.